I want to pose some questions for you and I want you to consider these questions. I've got about 3 or 4 questions for you. Here's the first question. How different would your life be if you got to spend 24 hours in heaven with God? I want you to ponder that. And I want someone to offer me an idea of how you think your life might be different if you were taken from this dimension and planet for 24 hours and you got to be with God right beside his throne, watching how he ran the universe for 24 hours. Gordon, what was your offering? I heard you say something.
Thanks, Andrew. Instead of me being at a moment in time and a moment in space like I am now, I'd actually, for the first time, experience eternity.
Eternity, yeah.
And I think that would just completely blow my mind because I'm used to being...
Okay, so you recognise it would be 24 hours Earth dimension time, but you would not know what time it was with God. Would that change your perspective when you came back after the 24 hours of Earth time?
Totally.
How?
Because you've experienced something that's so much bigger and grander than you are.
You've experienced something so much bigger and grander. Yep.
Put a number on it. It's like 1 billion times.
Okay, the billion times grander vision of God than you had. Anyone else? Heidi.
You'd experience total worship for the first time.
You would experience total worship for the first time. That is a great point.
You wouldn't think about you. You would suddenly see God for who he was, and you would be completely encapsulated in him. You'd worship for the first time.
That is a profound point, Heidi, because who thinks of, it's kind of like asking, how would you feel walking into the CEO of BHP? Well, it's not like that. Not like that at all. The world's biggest company, or General Electric, the world's biggest company. What do they trade, $1 billion a week in turnover or something? It's not like that. I can imagine the office of the CEO of General Electric, the world's largest company, is probably a pretty intense place. But that wouldn't be your experience standing beside the God who controls the universe.
That's how we were created. That's the thing.
All right, we're created to worship, and that's a profound point, Heidi. That in that place there is continual music. We'll see this in a minute. All right, here's the next question: How would your perspective of life, troubles, and any opposition that you're currently facing undergo change if you had that 24 hours in God's very presence? You would come back to earth and you would trust God like never before. You'd probably think, what problems? You're picking on me? You don't know whose side I'm on, do you? Okay, here's the next question. How surprised would you be, I'm sorry, I'm missing the you, at how seriously God listened to and answered the prayers of his people? How much of your time in heaven would you notice he's listening? C.S. Lewis said this. He was during World War II. He was put on the BBC to give talks about God and Christianity. It was called Mere Christianity. And he said, you may wonder how God can hear the prayers of so many billions of people at the time, even then in the 1940s, how he can hear the prayers of everyone at once. And he said, that's because God is outside our time. And in his dimension, as Gordon alluded to before, in his dimension of eternity, he has eternity to spend with you, even now, right now, begins now. And so he can spend eternity with you. He can spend eternity with me. He can spend his ability to hear every prayer prayed at the time, in the moment, by every person, is undaunted. Now, if you saw that, you got a glimpse of that in that dimension of eternity, and then you came back to earth, how would it affect the way you prayed? How shocked would you be at how forgiving, kind, loving, and relentless in that God is. To see people who not only, you can probably dispense with that, thanks Rube, you get a glimpse from God's perspective of people who are so angry at him, so opposed to him, so persistent in trying to undermine everything he's about. And yet he says, watch this. And he orchestrates events in their life. And they drop to their knees and cry out to him for forgiveness. And he grants it. But he doesn't just grant it. He doesn't just forgive and forget and say, you step over that line one more time, fella, look out. It's not that. He says this, here's the keys to my car, the keys to my house, the combination to my safe. I forgive you and I give you all this. It's yours now. Come on in. What would that do to you? Because whatever glimpse you get in that moment, you are beginning, lower shelf, to beginning to appreciate redemption.